Does Carl Edwards have a relationship with Christ?
I do. And I'll tell you how that happened if you want to hear.
I do. I think a lot of people want to hear it.
So I think this is, so I met through Justin Dyer, who is not only a brilliant scholar, but he's the toughest guy in jiu-jitsu. He's unbelievable. And so I met this guy at the gym. We started talking. He introduced me to Brent Beshore. We had a book club. It was fun.
I'm going to charge Brent for 2 mentions on this show.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
And so Brent said, just out of the blue, I didn't know him well at all. He said, I have this event going on and a seat just opened up and I think you should come. You'll like it. It's like, okay. So because I had a little bit of margin, I thought, I got a couple of days. I'll go do this. So go out to Colorado for this men's retreat. Okay. It's really all I knew. So I get in this van, we go up to the top of the mountain. There's about 40 guys that appear to be real sharp, successful guys. John Marsh was the opening speaker, and it blew my mind. It was like he hit me in the face with a 2x4 about how I needed to suck it up and be a better husband. I needed to be a better man. It was really powerful. So then we break for dinner, and Dupree Scoville and Stephen Garber are sitting at my table, and they just ambushed me. They're like, okay, Carl, so tell us about your walk with God. And I'm like, man, I think all of these guys are Christians. And we're up on this mountain by ourselves. What do I say? And I was like, I don't have one, guys. I don't. Because I didn't. And if I'm honest, for most of my life, I went to vacation Bible school because it was cheap daycare, I guess, when I was a kid. I just painted that's how we evangelize. I'm like, I don't know who Jesus is, but he loves me, whatever. I'll paint this thing. And so I thought that religion, spirituality, Christianity, I really thought it was just stories that dumb people told themselves. I was like, this makes no sense. It's fantasy land. So I tell these guys like, hey, look, I don't have a walk with God. And that's that. And I figure, maybe they'll throw me down the mountain. Maybe they'll let me stay. And they did an interesting thing. Stephen Garber says, okay. He says, let's talk about you. Let's talk about your life. I start telling him about my life. I start telling him about this, amazing family that I was born into. It was perfect for me. I mean, every family's screwed up, but mine was perfect for me. This dream I had, all the things I did, this crazy, like stopping my career. And then after my career, some things that I went and did that, just amazing things. And just saw crazy stuff going on, just miraculous things. And I was telling Garber, like, but I studied, evolutionary psychology. I understand a little bit of cosmology. I mean, I get physics real well. I see how, I get science. And he said, Carl, but you just sat here with tears in your eyes for 30 minutes and told me these amazing, miraculous things you see in your life. He said, Carl, I got a question. Were those things real? You say these science, all this stuff's real. Were those real? Did they really happen? I said, damn, they did. And he said, Carl, you say you have no walk with God. He's like, if you don't see God has been right beside you this whole time, you are blind. And it was the first time he didn't tell me anything I didn't already know. Yeah. It's like he removed a curtain and I got to see like, oh my gosh, there's a whole matrix going on here. The spiritual world that I truly it's like I knew it was there. I could feel it. I mean, in my darkest moments, I prayed to God. And amazing things happened in my life. And then I just discounted it. And so Dupree and Garber and those guys, they showed me God. And that was over a year and a half ago. And it's changed my life.
Yeah, it's funny. I grew up in a wonderful Christian home. We went to church every Sunday, but you go to college and you sort of fall away from the faith because mom and dad aren't making you go to church on Sundays. And I married this beautiful woman and she said, we're going to raise our kids in a Catholic home. You're going to go to church with us every Sunday. And I said, that's great. It took me a while, but I finally made the full conversion to Catholicism. And my relationship with Christ has evolved so much in the last probably 10 years. That I tell people, it's like when someone tells you to like go on a diet or start a new workout program, you're like, well, I feel great. You know what I did? I did feel great. I was a happy, joyful person. Then you go on that diet or you start that workout program and you lose 10, 20 pounds. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could feel this much better. And that's what I feel has happened to me as I've strengthened my relationship through Christ. So when was that? That was very recently, right?
It's about a year and a half
Okay,
ago.
so what do you think took so long?
So I'm a skeptical person. Okay. So and I mean skeptical like in the root sense of like to analyze, to question. And it served me really well, right? Because I don't take anything for granted. I'm going to cover all my bases. I'm going to control every variable I can, and then we're going to do better. And so I don't know when I took, people talk about like you take a vow sometimes that you don't even know you took. And I took a vow early in my life that screw it. If I'm going to go where I want to go, I need to put that burden on. I need to shoulder it. And no matter what it takes, I'm going to do it. And so that's called self-reliance. And it's the exact opposite of sort of self-surrender, what I say now. Yeah, it's the opposite of surrender. And there's a lot there, right? But that's not the story. That's not what it's about. And so for me to release control, to open up my hands and say, hey, there's something here that I'm A, not in control of, B, I don't understand, but C, it's really good. And it took me a long time.
Yeah, well, everybody's journey is different, and mine was. Some people are sort of pushed into the faith. That's fine if that works for them. Sounds like you and I were sort of pulled into it, and it's sort of everybody says, "Oh, I've been, Christ has been looking for me." No. He's known where you are the whole time. You just had to find him.
It's unbelievable, and I have so many friends who are going to hear this, and they'll be like, "That's not Carl," like because it's not. It's so different. It's a totally different way to live, and I'm just figuring out how to actually, go from like it feels completely unhinged, right? I feel like I'm floating like with no net, and it's like really it's crazy. And then there are times when it makes sense, and those are some really beautiful times.
I love that. Carl, what do you think the most challenging aspects of fatherhood are, and the most rewarding?
Gosh dang, fatherhood, man. None of us signed up to be brought into the world. And so, every kid, it's like I feel a very strong duty that these kids had no choice in the matter. And you gotta do what you can to help them. Like 100%, it's my duty. Like it's not even a question. It's more important than anything else in the world. And so recently, I have a wonderful son. I love him more than anything in the world. My mom brought in a picture, and she brought a picture of my son. He's about 8 years old. And I said, man, cute picture, but I don't remember us getting that picture done. And she said, that's not your son, that's your dad. Whoa. I was like, oh my gosh, they're identical. Okay. And so it's the first time I understood my dad in that light as an 8-year-old little boy whose mom is going to die of cancer, who's got a dad that's pretty tough on him, who was told he wasn't going to live to be any older than 30. He had a heart issue. And here I popped into the world, right? My mom wasn't supposed to have kids. They told her she couldn't. And it made me realize, like, holy shit. Like, my dad's a human being. My son's a human being. I'm a human being. We're all trying our hardest, okay? We got to simultaneously, like, do our duty, have grace for others, see people for all their faults. And for me, my son being born is a blessing for so many reasons. But a big one is I got to see my father as a man, as someone who did his damnedest to be the best father he could be. I got to see myself as someone in between going, man, I've got all these responsibilities. I need to make sure I keep this in the right context. And so that's a long-winded version of saying fatherhood for me has shown me things in life, a bigger view that I never could have imagined.
Yeah, it's funny. People have always asked me, like, what changed when you had kids? Like, what's being a dad like? And I said, you know what? Being a dad has made me a better son.
Yes.
Because I'm now seeing it from the other side of the table for the first time ever. And I realize, whoa, I was a pain in the ass. Whoa, I was a piece of crap. Whoa, I was this, that, and the other. And look, I'm still not a perfect son by any means, but it's definitely changed my perspective on all the sacrifice and the effort that my parents put in. I'm now doing that for my child as well. And so it just gives me this whole different perspective I didn't have. So, sort of wrapping a bow on fatherhood, what are your biggest hopes for your children?
So my biggest hopes for my children are really probably the same as almost everyone's, right? I want them to live a life that is really like fulfilling to them. I want them to help others. I want them to contribute to just the human flourishing in general. But I really want them, I guess if I'm really just honest about it, I want them to avoid the most obvious pitfalls. I want them to just hopefully allow us as parents to guide them. I hope they realize the people around them that love them and care about them. And I hope that they can get that right, long enough to get headed on a good trajectory, right? I mean, I think that's all the parents I know, that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to get these kids, like, don't screw this.
Like half of life is just avoiding mistakes.
And so
No turnovers.
but yeah, it's really hard, man. I know when I was 13, 14, 15 years old, I didn't think about my parents. I'm just like, what am I going to go do? I just hope they can see the bigger picture.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's Gates. Thanks for tuning in. I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the show. I hear that all the time when I watch and listen to podcasts. And now that I have a show, I know the difference that it makes. It really does boost us in the algorithm. And the better we do in the algorithm, the better guests we're going to get, the better content we're going to be able to produce. This show is not mine, it's yours. So in a way, you're helping yourself. So please like, share, and subscribe, and God bless.